Hey, what's up? This is Mike Abominator, and I was asked by my good buddy Andrew Lee to talk about split releases. And he came to the right place because I fucking love splits. So, on my Welcome to Hell channel on YouTube, I talk a lot about splits and bands that have done splits. So, I think splits were a great way back in the day in the 80s and 90s to discover new bands. So let's say if you were into Sinister, you would buy that 7-inch split with Monastery, but you never heard Monastery, right? So then you discover Monastery. It's like, oh, fuck, this is cool. And then you start hunting and digging. And, a lot of bands across the board would do splits together. And, you might not know one of the other band that the splits with. So you would discover these bands, and it was just awesome to do that. So let me start with some of my favorite splits that I have. And obviously, we all know the king of splits, Agothocles. This is their split with Excruciating Terror. Rest in peace, Victor Garcia. And this is definitely one of my favorites. This is probably my favorite Agothocles split, is the split with VNA. So that's a classic. And then that was on Thrash Records. This is Seraphic Decay split with Putrid Will Fall. Classic stuff. And then here's the Monastery Sinister. So this is a lot of the death metal stuff from back in the day, grindcore. And then here's Pungent Stench, Benediction, one of my all-time favorites. Old Lady Drivers, Ass Suck, total classic. And then I got Napalm Death, SOB. This is a classic, and it's so badass. I had to get the red one too, Napalm Death, SOB. So I got that. Then we get into a little bit of black metal, some Black Thrash, Death Yell, and Beherit. That's a classic. And then this is Rorschach, Neanderthal. This is one of the most brutal covers of all time. Killer, hardcore power violence stuff. Here's some Man is the Bastard and Crossed Out, one of the best splits ever, especially that crossed out side. Slap a Ham couldn't do any wrong back in the day. And then here's some Spaz and Lack of Interest. My buddy Bob from Lack of Interest put this out. Classic stuff. Filthy Christians and G-Anks, so sometimes you wouldn't know who's who in some of these bands. Here's some Belching Beat and Rupture, classic stuff if you like grindcore. And then here's some crusty stuff, Hiatus, Embittered, so discovering all these killer bands through the splits. There's some Anarchist and Monastery. Slap a Ham put this out too. Getting into some CDs. This one's cool. This is the Emperor and Slave split. This is actually a promo copy from Candlelight, I believe. They sent it to the old fanzine I was doing back in the day, EOG. Here's the Necromantia Verathron split CD, totally badass. Here's a little Profanatica Massacre split. And then here's the legendary Carnage and Cadaver on Necrosis Records, all-time classic. And this one's cool. I snuck this in here. This is a little compilation, Symphonies of Death, and it's a three-way. I know it's not two bands, but it's Pyogenesis, Transgressor, and Hideous Corpse. So that's badass. And then real quick, I got some old split tapes that Altar and Cartilage. That's a classic album. Prophecy of Doom, Axe Grinder. A lot of people maybe hadn't heard Axe Grinder. They were into Prophecy of Doom and they got into Axe Grinder. Here's a legendary demo of the Terrorizer Nausea, total classic. And then one of the best splits ever, the Blood and Patago. See if I can move my fingers there. This one's kind of cool. Got this from the Malediction guys. This is Cradle of Filth and Malediction. This is just like an underground split tape that they put out back in the day. I think it's one of the early Cradle of Filth recordings too. Some Deadhead and Lethargy. And this one's unique too. I guess it's pretty rare. It's Autopsy, Fiend for Blood, but it's got My Dying Bride's EP on there too. some random bootleg label put it out. I ran across it back in the day, so it's fun having that stuff. And then end it with some Finnish death metal, Fester Day and Carnifex. This is their split. I don't even know very many people that have this one. We got it for the fanzine back in the day, and definitely honored to have it. But yeah, I wanted to, talk about split releases and what they mean to me. And there's just some examples of some of the killer ones that I have. So go out and do the research and check these releases out and other ones. And there's tons more. I mean, I didn't even get into the split LPs, but I've probably gone way over my time, unfortunately. Sorry, Andrew, but I got a lot of cool stuff that I wanted to talk about. So that was that. All right, everybody, go check out the Welcome to Hell channel on YouTube if you want to watch more crazy stuff like what I've been talking about. And hails to Andrew, man. He's awesome. So it's cool being a part of this. Splits rule. See ya, you sickos.